Okay, there we go. All right, welcome everybody to day 4 of our Google Apps class. This is Gmail, and today is, what's the date? 4th, December 4th, 2014. Is it raining outside? It's drizzling a little bit here. And foggy. How heavy is the rain in California?
It stopped right now.
Okay. How heavy was it before?
Oh, pretty heavy. We got what 2, 3
okay.
rain?
Couple inches? Okay, so that's like a storm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and California needs it from the pictures I've seen of the lakes where people have their boats docked. Okay, so today we're going to wrap up with Gmail. And so we're going to do a little bit of Gmail wrap up at the end, but right now the idea is to focus on contacts. And before we get into the nitty-gritty of how to manipulate your contacts, I want to talk a little bit about why it is important to care about contacts. There is another TED Talk that I think we'll be watching where it makes the point that the most important thing that you can do is to collect people's contact information. Most important thing you can do from this point forward in your life is to collect people's contact information. Why would that be true, Sequoia? Why would that be true? Okay, so it's important to pay attention to me.
Because it's all about who you know in business.
Okay. Ray, why is that important? We're focusing on people who are not paying attention.
I am paying attention. I was just looking at the rest of the video.
Okay.
Create a network.
Okay.
For business.
Create a network. Marcellus?
John?
It helps you to quickly be in contact with people around you, and you can also use to get in contact with important people quickly so you can get in contact.
Okay, so why should we care about that?
Information.
In case you're networking, it's an important person you can get in contact with, and right there get in contact with.
Okay. So has anybody ever heard the expression, it's not what you know, it's who you know?
Yeah.
Has anybody ever heard that? Has anybody not heard that expression?
Yeah, I heard that a lot.
Okay.
Very true.
So it's not who you know or what you know, it's who you know.
It used to be like that a long time ago, though.
You saying it's not like that?
It used to be like that a long time ago.
You saying it's not like that now?
More important than it is
Ever.
Yeah.
It's more important today than it is ever. So one way to think of your network of contacts is as like a fishing net. Okay? Now, what should a good fishing net look like?
Uniform.
Uniform. Like a guard's uniform?
No, like all this holes need to be the same size.
Okay.
Depends on how big a
Like
fish
cheesecloth?
you're
Okay, so right. So the correct answer in law school to almost any question is it depends.
trying to- Right.
Okay? We're not talking about the things you wear. So it depends on what you're trying to catch. Okay, so in this place, let's just say we're trying to get people's contact. That's the net that we're trying to build. What are some of the important things you need to have a good net?
A good lure.
People from
No, you don't need a good lure for a good net. You could have a good lure and a lousy net. What's going to happen? Right. Okay, strong. Strong enough for what you're trying to catch, right? Okay. The cheesecloth net probably won't help against a whale. Right? Probably won't work. And a large net probably won't work against minnows, right? So after you get past the net has to be appropriate for the type of thing you're trying to catch in the net, then you have to make sure there aren't any tears or holes in the net, right? Because what happens if you have a tear or hole in your net?
You fish.
Right. So Google already builds the net. Because everybody should have just gotten, anytime you send an email, what happens? Where does it go? No.
Your safe box.
Where does it go on your contact list? Anytime you send an email, it goes to where?
Contacts.
Where in contacts?
Other contacts.
Other contacts. 2 points for Danielle once again. It goes into other contacts. Why?
Because we never added them,
Why did Google have that feature?
so you never lose
So you
email.
can use it.
Right. So that any fish, or let's just say we're going with the fishing net analogy, any fish that gets inside of your net is going to be captured, right? It's going to be caught. Google's already doing that. Is that efficient? No. It's a start. It's a start. But if you don't stay on top of it, you will end up with I'm trying to go to mine quickly. Here we go. You'll end up with 561 names in that other contact. And what does that mean?
You
You
didn't
can't
send
get
any.
your contact you really want to.
I don't know who they are necessarily. Well, it's not about size. It's just about all kinds of contacts are slipping through my net because I don't know who they are. All I have is an email address. Or maybe I have a name, but I sent them one email 4 years ago. I have their name, I have their email, but I don't remember who they are.
They're not being categorized.
Because I didn't add them to what?
Your contact.
To what part?
Your label, you didn't label them.
I didn't add them to my contacts. So remember, it's very important. The starting thing is Google built this net, and it's going to catch every email that you send. It's going to go to other contacts. But that thing's going to get out of your net if you don't convert it to my contacts. And then once you convert it to my contacts, then what do we want to do?
Put
Put it in a group, and what else? That he didn't talk about. He said, I'm going to talk about it, but he didn't talk about. In California, what did he say he was going to talk about, but he didn't talk about? Okay, we can play hangman. What is the first letter? I'll give you a hint. G. Well, you create a group, so I'm sorry. If you don't want to put it in a group, what else can you put it in?
Family.
Circle.
Circles, right. He didn't talk about circles. He talked about groups. He said, I'm going to talk about circles. We need to do both. What does it do when you put it into a group?
It allows you to distinguish between who you'd like to send something to and others that you don't want to send.
Okay, what does a group do, though? What's the fundamental thing that a group does?
So it's like a little.
They communicate.
It categorizes, like, separate.
Takes a bunch of people. When you can send to a group, so you don't need to know a whole bunch of people's emails. You send it to the group because you put people in the group. So family group, you would include all of the people in your family in this group called family. Then in your subject, not subject, in your part of your email, you put family. You type family, and it's going to fill your family group. So that email will go to everybody that's in that group. So it's a very efficient way to send emails to a large number of people. What would be an example at work? What would you do, Miguel, if you created groups at work? What would be an example of a group? Yeah, so what would be an example of a group that you might have?
A meeting one day for all my different employees.
Okay, so a group of employees. That would be a good one. What's another group?
All the people that get to the budget.
For Miguel's carpet cleaning business.
All his
Customers.
customers.
Okay, now it could be La Voce if he advertised in La Voce.
I have a
Customers, exactly.
you can have a special or something.
So you could have a group of all of your customers, or you might have a group of all of your really, really, really important customers.
Partners if we had them.
Okay, partners. Okay, past customers, people who haven't done business with you for a year or 6 months. Throw them in that group. Okay, investors. So those are examples of groups, and what you do with the group is you send them an email. Now, what can you do in the email?
Send an attachment.
You can add an attachment. Right.
You customize it.
What else can you do?
You customize it to make it personal for each contact, right?
Well, that would be more of a
You
MailChimp
just
thing,
separate the group.
and add a what?
You just separate the group.
Separate it into what? Like, what do you mean? What's an example?
Just like what he said, if it's somebody's birthday, that you don't have to sing it.
Okay, so there you would go to send it to the group, and you'd say, well, actually, I don't want to send it to the whole group. But, so in a group, you can have an attachment. You can you can have a link in there. You can have a link to a Google document. So this is pulling in other Google apps. How about a link? How about can you connect that to your calendar?
Or a map, for example, where they want to go.
You can have a link to a map in there. So one of the good things about Google, the reason we use Google is it has these other apps, and the apps work with each other. Now let's talk about circles. Because remember when he pulled the little box up for an email from somebody. And so how do I get to Gmail? Dang, how do I get to Gmail? Over here. No.
Over here?
Okay, that's one way to do it, but that's not the best way.
Click on the event on the calendar.
I want to get to Gmail. What's the way? I'll give you a hint. It's on the board.
Oh, that's
Your 9 square.
What I want everybody to do is go to the 9-square grid. Do not start using your bookmarks bar. This is what Rob did for people who were here before. Rob would do this. This is not what the bookmarks bar is designed for. Bookmarks bar is designed to have documents that you need. For example, the Beatitudes book, the Remember This book, the weekly list of things you're supposed to memorize. Not to apps. You're wasting your space up here if you have to go into things that you can get from here. Also, when you click on something in here, whatever tab you have open, it's going to overwrite that tab. If you click on the application in here, it's going to open a new tab. Okay, so you don't want it, it gets to be very frustrating. Oh, I'm in calendar, I need to check something with Gmail. I clicked it on my bookmarks bar, and oops, my calendar just went away.
Stay away from the non-color.
No, that's a different thing.
Okay.
But for the Google apps, get in the habit, break your bad habit of going to the bookmarks bar. That's just being a little bit lazy. Okay, so I want to go to Gmail. Right, so I click on that, and then I click on Gmail. 2 clicks. Click 1, click 2. So, let me find an email from somebody. Well, I want to open up. I want to go to somebody. So here's one from Ray. Now you notice so this is the habit you should get into. This is the process you should get into. And if you can't remember, go to a page in your book and write at the top contacts. So whenever you get an email from somebody, you should get in the habit, or once a day, go back for the last 24 hours, get in the habit of you put your pointer over the person's name and you hover there. And then this box pops up. There's two things that you can do quickly. One is add them to circles. So everybody, you should always add everybody to a circle. This is how you don't have holes in your net. This is how you prevent people you're sending an email to from getting away, or that you receive an email from getting away. If you send an email, if I send an email to Ray Shun, am I going to collect his contact information?
Yes.
Some of it, yes. Where?
Yeah, you have to.
In what? No.
Contacts.
Other contacts.
Other
Okay.
contacts.
If I send him an email, Google is automatically going to capture that in other contacts. But that's going to slip through over time because I'm not going to know 5 years from now who Ray Shun is. Well, I probably will. But let's say it's somebody else. Okay, I might not remember him. So we want to get in the habit of every day or every email that comes in to just quickly go to it, hover over it, and do two things. One is to add to circles. So again, if it's Mikkel's carpet cleaning business, it could be potential supplier, current supplier, prospective customer, customer, really good customer, employee, family, whatever. You could end up with 99 circles. It doesn't matter. So we add these circles by, and you gotta kind of get good at this because it's not really forgiving. Right? By hovering and then just dragging the mouse down and hover over where it says add to circles. And then another little window will pop up of all of your circles. Now let's say you don't have a circle. I'd say I don't have a circle for Ray Shun. It gives the option at the bottom, create a new circle. So that's easy to do. But I'm going to add him to LTC LD student. So what I do is I check that box, and I move off of that, and it shows me, okay, he's been added to this circle. So for every email you get, you should hover, add somebody to your circle. Okay, so now if I go into Google Plus, I'll find that Ray Shun is in that circle called LTC LD students. We'll look at that. Now the other thing is I go to contact info. And when I do that, what happens?
Your profile shows up.
Right. And what can I do?
And
Circle.
I can change it. I can do, so exactly, I can edit. So it has his name, I can change that, this,
It's specific.
email accounts, I can add another email, his phone address, his Google profile, your other things I can add.
So
Whether you want it or not, you have to decide.
Okay. Then I can add a note. Sneaky guy. Or whatever.
Be careful.
And I see up here that he's in this circle. He's in the LTC LB circle. And I have his email address right there. And I see his Google Plus. And I could start him if I want. That just makes it another one. Or if I want to add him to a group.
How is a group going to serve?
Groups are for Gmail. It's for sending emails. Circles are for what? Google Plus. Well, it's not really for Gmail. But, well, that's not really true. So, yeah, it is. So you're right. So again, the key things we want to do is A, understand the importance of making sure that our net is very good, and then be collecting whenever we can people's information.
You never know when you're going to want to contact.
Well, okay, so that's kind of a reactive type thing. It's true, you don't necessarily going to know. I wouldn't say you don't know when you're going to do it. You might intend to do it tomorrow, right? I got Tony Hsieh's information. I don't want to have the attitude in my brain. I never know when I want to get a hold of Tony Hsieh. I want to have the attitude of the more reasons I have to get to Tony Hsieh that are of interest to him, the better it's going to be for me. So from this point forward, you need to spend time every day making sure that your contact list is good, because the better your net, if you're a fisherman, the better your net, what happens?
More fish you catch.
The more fish you catch, or the less time you have to spend fishing. And if your net gets really bad, can you fix it? Right. At a certain point in time, you could have a net that's so bad, you just have to throw it away. Yeah.
I have the circles and friends and 250 people. They're in both.
And
Huh?
what is your question? Is that
How do you say?
If you have a circle with friends, one circle is called friends.
Yeah.
So you would create three circles and move them, or make a circle that just has the ones you want to deal with.
Yeah. So, okay, now that brings up a good point. When you create groups and create circles, be as specific as possible. Don't say a friend is somebody I met. That's not a friend.
So he wants to create a circle that takes you code for on the internet, and then he wants to move all of those into that one circle, and then there'll be a circle. There will be things that code for on the internet.
Which is a little bit longer name. This one might want to
I'm being
abbreviate that.
sarcastic, of course. Why do you think we've got 250 friends?
So how many friends do most people have?
Real friends?
Yeah, friends.
In real life?
Yeah.
Maybe
No, in an alternate universe.
no more than 2 or 3.
Okay, right.
Because you have to medicate.
So you should think of friends as friends, family. Then you might have a group called acquaintances. So I have a thing called acquaintances, which is people I know, but they're not friends. They're not family. They're just people I know. Then I have a group of people, a group called following. These are people I follow. They're not friends. I haven't met them. So if somebody, if I go into Google Plus and it says, so-and-so just followed you, I'll look at who they are, and I might agree to follow them. So for my logic in my brain, I now have this lower category of following, which is people I don't know. I'm just following because they're following me. And I'm certainly not going to send them anything that I would send to a friend. Now, I might send friends things that I would send to them, but I wouldn't send them things that I would send to a friend.
You said you had, before when we were discussing this, you had a circle of people, not, what do you call that?
Foes.
Foes, yeah.
So you should do that, because in your net, you want to have everybody on your other contacts moved out of other contacts and moved into contacts. That's what you want to do. And so how would you define, or how would you treat somebody who was in your foe group or foe circle?
Like a bill collectors.
Well, how would you want to treat them?
Stay away.
Correct.
You can mute them too.
Okay, but you don't want to do that.
Why?
Because that just creates another level of things that you have to think about doing. If you a non-consistency with everybody's either in a group or they're in a circle, or they're in a group and a circle. I don't want to have to be thinking of, well, are they not in a group because I muted them? I want to know who the people are I don't want to deal with, that I'm going to stay away from. If I get an email from that person, I want to know that this is somebody that's in that group. I don't want to block them. I'd probably create a rule a filter in Gmail that anything I get from that person, I don't even want going to my inbox. I just want it going straight to the archive. Yeah.
My question would be, can you take from your circles, put them into your contacts with circles?
Okay, so one of the things that Google does for you is in your contacts, there's a category called circles. What do you think is in there? All of your circles. Every circle you have, if you go to your contact list, go into contacts, you're going to see there's a heading called circles. And it says how many people you have in circles. And then it lists all the circles, and if you click on one of those circles, it'll come up with all of the people that are in that circle. So it automatically syncs your circles into your contacts. So Google makes it easy to do this. What we have to do is get in the habit of doing it. It's like a lot of other things. Google makes it easy to do that. We just have to do it. But the value of doing it is tremendous. So whatever project you're on, here, if you're out collecting contact information from people, so who's in people of events? Like Mark. So Mark and Eric, if every day you're just getting email addresses of people who are homeless, you know, maybe a lot of them don't have email, but if they do, and you add them to your group, you add them to a circle, and there's an event coming up, like let's say, I don't know, Sunday. There's an event coming up Sunday. It gets to be very easy for you to give them notice. Now, you can't control whether they read their email or they have internet access, but guess what happens when ultimately they do? That notification you get, what?
They still open it up.
That's right, they're going to open it up, and how are they going to feel about you, the person who sent it? That you were thinking about, right? You cared about it. That you sacrificed just a little bit of your time, right, to think about them.
Right.
Just
And how does that tie into this morning's TED Talk?
Become a leader.
If you sacrifice,
They will
Sacrifice for you.
yeah, they would be more inclined to sacrifice for you. I mean, not everybody will. Some people are greedy piggy people. And they're just takers. No matter what you give, they're going to take more. They're not going to give. But for most people, they reciprocate, and they treat you the way you treat them, because that's the best strategy in life. Okay. So, in California, what questions does anybody have regarding contacts?
Any questions at all regarding contacts? Anyone? Everybody's good on contacts? No questions at this moment, Ed.
Okay, so the thing to do is to every day, you know, what I would suggest is when you get to 9:30, go to your calendar, go to Google+, go into your Gmail, just all very quickly. Go to each one of those things, see what's in there. If you have any new emails from people, update your contacts. Do what I just did here. How do I get back to Gmail from here? Jesse? You just go up to
The little gray box. The
you
little,
just go up to the grid box
little gray box.
and here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Just go to the- I go to
Oh,
here,
right there, yeah.
and I click on Gmail. So that would work too. There's one of the great things about Gmail or Google is there's always more than one way to do things in Google.
Without leaving out.
Huh?
Without leaving out.
Without leaving out. They always have many ways to do things. So if I I'm back in Gmail, right? I went from contacts to Gmail. I click on my inbox. Here's what's in my inbox, and I can just do, hover over any of these things, and it's going to come up with information on who it is, what it is, etc.
You get your notifications every day.
Huh?
when you open up your Google Plus and there's a new student that comes in, and they are befriending you, there's been times that a new guy will come in, and then 3 weeks down the way, I wanted to email him because now we started talking, and at that time I didn't put him in a particular circle when I had the opportunity, so I had to ask him his email address, which is an inefficient way of doing it.
Well, what else would you do?
Well, what I'm saying is, when he befriended me, he was inviting me,
He
and I had
friended
him
you?
through a circle.
Okay. So how would he friend you?
There's a,
Which is not a term in Google. What's the term in Google?
he wants to add you to a circle.
Add, right.
Yeah.
So he adds you, you get noticed. All right, so here we should probably have a more efficient way so that when a new student comes in, everybody can get their email address, their Google account. And then everybody should add new students to a circle and to a group. And you should have another group called what? Whatever project you're working on.
Right.
Most contacted?
Well, that's a thing that's already in there. But everybody that is in People of the Abyss should have a circle called People of the Abyss. And who's in that circle?
I told you I had already started a circle, but like really talking, it's all written down on paper in these interviews I was having.
Okay, but wait a second. The circle is just a collection of people. Okay, so what you're talking about is stuff you posted in that circle.
It wasn't posted on it. Posted that.
Okay, but that you would post based upon written things. So school needs to be more efficient to make sure everybody gets people's email addresses. So maybe now with our 2 new students, once they're fully on board, we'll go back to how we did it in the old days, which is to introduce themselves and everybody introduced. And we'll write their email addresses on the board, and then everybody can add them to circles. So I think we'll do that from now on going forward. Okay, so it's almost break time. What questions does anybody have here regarding contacts? Everybody knows contacts, so when we have the quiz tomorrow, nobody's going to get involved.
Are there other ways to find someone's email? Like, for example, I noticed on the G. I noticed that, like, you know how you send out a message towards everyone on the G drive, and they have all their yeah. Can we pull up someone's email for that and then add them to contacts that way? That way, we're avoiding the whole thing.
Well, if you go into Google Plus, right, and you go to People, this has People. Now, can I get Danielle's email?
We friend her at that point.
Well, let's not say friend. Let's not say friend. Let's just say add or invite. So,
Like on Facebook, you have to request.
yeah, but we're not on Facebook. So you're going to get people confused who are just trying to understand this. Okay, so I click on People. What does Google do automatically to make it easy for me? It comes up with suggestions. Or here's people who've added me. Okay, so I can easily add them if I want to. And how do I add? Instead of just clicking Add, if I bring my pointer over them, I can add them to a specific group. See, I can't remember who this guy was. I think he's from Randy Moses from Real Court or something. Okay, so how do you get people was your question, right? Yes. Okay. Well, it was actually, can I get their
Yeah, can I get their email address and just add them to my contacts without going through the whole shebang?
I don't know that it's that easy.
Don't have it on don't.
But you can certainly you can add them to circles. So for example here, under suggestions, it has where the law school I went to. So these are presumably people I don't even know. Yeah, I don't know any of these. Okay, but it makes it easy to add people who I have something in common, right? Santa Clara, that's where I got my undergraduate. Yeah, I do like that. It's my room. Australia. He's a tennis coach. And if I went through, there were a lot of these people working. So this makes it easy to find people to add to your circles. Once people are in your circles, you can post a message that says, please send me your email. I want to create a group. Please send me your email, and then they can reply. Okay. Any other questions anybody has? Okay, so Miguel, do you see how you can use this in your business? Circles and contacts. Okay, anybody here in the restaurant business besides Mark? Okay.
Which new restaurant, like?
Worked in restaurants, like want to get back in the restaurant business? Okay. So if you wanted to get back in the restaurant business and you didn't really necessarily want to just do the restaurant part, one thing to do would be to say to the place, I can help you get your existing customers to come back more often, stay longer, come back more often, and tell their friends by creating circles, communities, groups. If you want to send somebody a coupon, an email is probably still the best way to do it, because everybody's used to printing an attachment. People aren't really used to printing a message that comes in on Google+. Okay? Most people don't. Okay? All right, so it's break time, and that's it. Tomorrow's the quiz. Okay, great.
No, boys and girls.
I don't think everybody caught on.
What do you mean?
You'll find out